I'm Lieutenant Pat Doring, Crisis Negotiator from WhatCopsWatch.com, and you're listening to the Two Guys Talking Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Green Gab Podcast, a place to gab with people rocking it in green. Green homes, green living, green companies. Join Marla Esser Cloos, the green home coach and author of Living Green Effortlessly, Simple Choices to a Better Home, and Tony Pratt, the Director of Builder Relations at The Sound Room. Here are your hosts, Marla and Tony.
Welcome to the Green Gap Podcast. Today, I am talking with Paul Springer of AeroBarrier. How are you doing today, Paul?
Very good. How are you?
I am awesome. It's another day. It's sunny, but it's cold. Of course, you're where? Ohio?
Yeah, Dayton, just south of Dayton, Ohio.
So you guys are a little chilly too.
Yeah, we got snow on the ground.
Yeah, well, we don't have that, but that's all good. So I am just super excited. I've gotten to know you guys pretty well over the past few months as we started working together, especially at the International Builder Show. We got to see quite a bit of each other's companies there.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about what AeroBarrier is and what you guys are up to, because you got some big things up your sleeve.
Sure. AeroBarrier is an envelope sealing technology that really takes the guesswork out of sealing the building envelope.
Okay, hang on. Some of our folks on here might be lay people, so let's explain what a building envelope is.
Sure. So the exterior surface, or it can be different places in the building, but you establish a building envelope as a way to control the interior climate in your house.
So it's like it's the skin of the house, basically.
Yeah, essentially the skin of the house. That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
Historically, that's been done with manual hand sealing of caulks and tapes or goops that, you just kind of walk around and seal what you see and seal where you think there may be a leak. And our system actually automates that process in a way that there's no more guesswork. If you're looking to meet a building code or you're looking to meet some green energy or green building standard, we can do that, and we do it with no additional labor, no additional time, no additional material. We just hit whatever number that the builder is needing us to hit, and the process is done. We've taken a very manual process and automated it in a way that there's no more concern about getting whatever numbers you need.
Okay, so what I got from visiting with you guys, and we'll get into a little bit more about how this works. So when you're in a house or a building, the number one reason that you are uncomfortable and you may have health concerns is air leaking into the house.
Correct.
So air goes from cold to hot because the cold air is higher pressure than the hot air, which is lower pressure. I think I have that right. So as the air pressure is trying to equalize, the cold air rushes in and we get drafts, we get cold spots. And I don't know anybody that lives in an older home that doesn't complain about something being hot in their house in the summer or cold in the winter. I'm in a relatively new house that even has a HERS score, which is an energy efficiency score, and I still have a couple of cold spots. So chances are my house does leak some, right?
Yeah, and all houses are going to leak some, and in some ways they're designed to do that, right? You want your house to breathe. You don't want it to be so tight without proper ventilation that it becomes unhealthy. So in some ways, houses are designed to breathe on their own. But the tighter we can get it, the more we can control that air, the healthier the home, the more comfortable the home, the more energy efficient the home becomes.
So kind of like the difference between breathing out of an oxygen tank versus just breathing the air at large. You're getting better directed air.
Yes.
Close enough?
Yeah.
Okay. AeroBarrier is a way to air seal a home or a building in a revolutionary new way.
Yes.
Because I know all the people I work with on all the projects I've worked in, here they are with their caulk guns going around looking for any penetration, like where a pipe comes through the ceiling or goes through a wall, or there's gaps between, like where two pieces of material meet or two pieces of lumber meet. So that's all the kind of air leaks we're talking about, or where there's junction boxes, like where the electric boxes come into the room. So stuff like that.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Around
so all that stuff has
all that stuff.
Sometimes big holes, right?
Yeah. Depending on the how the work was done that day, it could be pretty big holes.
Okay, so those holes have to be sealed up so we don't have lots of air coming in that we don't want.
Yep.
And AeroBarrier does that. It seals it up. But I
Yes.
don't need to go have a person walk around with a caulk gun and caulk it all up.
No, that's really the beauty of the technology is we've kind of taken the manual part of it out of it. We've automated the process so it makes it easy. And it's just you turn on the machine and it's done.
Okay, so let's explain how this happens, because this was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, so our system includes our AeroBarrier machine, a computer, and a blower door. What we do is we use the blower door to put positive pressure inside the house. And what that means is we're blowing a lot of air into the house at a high rate of speed. And what that allows us to do is the only place for the air then to go once we push it into the house is out the leaks. So the technology is our chemistry is designed that at that pressure and when we're using the blower door that our sealant particles, when they're atomized, actually float. So they stay suspended in the air. And because the air is moving to the leaks, we then use the air as a method of transport. And the air takes our sealant particles to the leak. The nice thing about the technology is it requires a change in pressure or a change in velocity for a seal to start to form. So as the air is exiting a leak or exiting the house, our sealant particles will start to coagulate on that leak until it completely seals the leak.
So this is going to sound kind of gross, but kind of like your blood coagulates around a wound?
Yeah, just they slowly build up on each other. The particles slowly build up on each other until they've completely sealed the leak.
So that's just brilliant.
And even
using the basics of physics to help seal a leak.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is it's only the leak. So if you were to walk into a house after we were done sealing and rub the drywall or at a window, there's not going to be sealant particles or there's film over everything because there's no change in pressure at the drywall. So it's not going to create a seal. It's not going to stick to everything. It only sticks to where the leaks are.
Wow. I'm trained as an engineer many, many years ago. That I'm still fascinated with science. And what I hear you saying is that y'all have figured out a way to take the principles of science that work inside of building science and use those to deliver a better way to really help our homes and our buildings.
Yeah, we've taken something that has historically been a challenge for builders and made it really, really easy.
Yeah. Can this process be done on an existing home or building or only on a new construction home or building?
We can do any space that can be pressurized, meaning we have to be able to pressurize the space to seal it. We kind of draw the line when, we aren't going to do a house that someone lives in. If there's clothes and furniture and material belongings in a space, we draw the line at that and we will not seal that space. But if it's a completely finished apartment with flooring and kitchen in place, but no one's living there, we have done those projects before and we're happy to do those projects. So from rough in all the way through till someone's getting ready to take occupancy or a complete gut renovation, we can do that work.
But it is important that the place be empty.
Yeah. I mean, we're creating an aerosol fog in the house. So
yeah.
Personal belongings in the space don't typically work well with that type of fog.
What I want to kind of plant a seed for here is if someone is buying a home, be it an existing home or a new home, and they want to ensure that that home, and would work for buildings as well and units like condo and apartment units, they want to ensure that that space is really well air sealed, that would be an ideal time to do it. Is if they're doing remodeling or it's empty before they're moving in or it's in construction.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. Again, it just reiterating that the blinds or any other things that are added to the space, we would want those out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the space is completely empty, we can seal it.
Wow, I just see so many possibilities for this. And air sealing in our homes and our buildings is so critical because of the, there's just all different kinds of construction out there and all different ages of construction. And so often we have no idea of what's really been done and we can't see the leaks, or you have to push back insulation to see the leaks, or a number of other reasons that the leaks hide in places that we can't see. So I love the idea that this kind of finds the hidden leaks and gets them sealed up. And I know, so folks listening in, I know air sealing sounds kind of boring, but I'll tell you what, we'll direct you to their website, to AeroBarrier's website, because you can see some of the videos and read some of the case studies for some of the work they've done. And while this is science, and this is building science, that building science is crucial to what makes our homes and buildings better. And that means they're more comfortable, they're healthier, and they're safer for you to be in. And that's what you want, as an occupant or a resident or an owner of a home or a building. you really want to make sure that you're getting human returns out of it that we want. And that's typically the first three for most of us are health, safety, and comfort. So I think this is just an ingenious way to really tackle that. And I've just been fascinated with what y'all are doing since I first met you guys. I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
What you guys are doing is so fabulous and was recognized as such that at the International Builder Show a few weeks ago, AeroBarrier took Best of Show for IBS, International Builder Show, as well as Most Innovative, right?
Yeah, we had a good feeling about the Most Innovative award just based on the technology and what we're doing, but we were pleasantly surprised about winning the overall Best in Show.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same. I was like, okay, I know they got a really, really good shot of Most Innovative, but Best in Show, oh my gosh, that was just icing on the cake.
Yes.
Well, hey, we just went through a whole bunch of technical stuff. So let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, let's dive into some of the background on how this all came to be, because it's a fascinating story. And we'll keep our listeners going with that.
Sounds good.
Wouldn't it be cool if your advertising could last forever? It can with perpetual advertising. Here's how it works. Unlike TV or radio ads, where every instance the ads are broadcast, they're only played once and lost forever. Perpetual advertising can have repeat exposure and replayability weeks, months, and even years after they're inserted in a podcast. So even if a podcast is a few years old, your ads will still be impactful to repeat listeners, as well as new listeners. This gives your advertising dollar the most bang for the buck. Find out more about perpetual advertising at twoguystalking.com/sponsors.
Check out the book, Living Green Effortlessly, Simple Choices for a Better Home, to make simple changes to buying habits that affect a home both inside and out. Marla Esser Cloos shows consumers ways to make any home a green home. Get the book now at livinggreenbook.com. That's livinggreenbook.com.
Hi, I'm David Knoll from Walter Knoll Florist. You're listening to The Green Gab.
Hey, we're still gabbing today on The Green Gab with Paul Springer of AeroBarrier. And Paul, you guys, I say you guys, your whole company, guys and gals, have just done an amazing job of getting AeroBarrier out into the world with a really big splash.
We've tried hard.
Y'all have been busy. So I wanted to kind of clue in. We actually got to spend, like I said earlier, quite a bit of time at the International Builder Show, which I was absolutely delighted. And we were trying to go back. I met you there, although you and I had been emailing and talking quite a bit before then.
Right.
I actually met Amit at an International Builder Show, I think about 5 years ago. And it was funny because we were just standing next to each other, watching a presentation, and we got talking. Just have kept in touch ever since. And I don't know why I called him a while back, but I did. And you guys were getting ready to launch AeroBarrier. So, yay-hoo.
Yeah, it's worked out well for everyone.
I know. I'm super excited. So when I met Amit about 5 years ago, you guys were working with your first product, which is AeroSeal.
Yep.
Which is duct sealing.
Yeah.
Kind of similar concept to AeroBarrier, but it works in ductwork. So folks, if you have a home with a forced air, central air system, this is something to look at. Kind of the same principle as the technology for AeroBarrier, but it works inside your ductwork, which is also another big source of leaks and stuff issues. but the components here that make a big difference is the physics. So that's the pressurization.
Yep.
And then the actual product that the sealant is. So you guys really have taken the best of physics and chemistry, if I dig back into my science geek, and really brought them to a solution that really, really delivers. But how does that all happen?
Yeah, so it's funny. So AeroSeal, our duct sealing technology, has been around for about 20 years. It's your typical California garage story that Dr. Mark Madero started this technology in his garage and wanted to find a way to seal ductworks more efficiently. And that's really how AeroSeal came to be. So fast forward, the last 4 years, we have been researching and developing this new technology, AeroBarrier, which takes the same principles as AeroSeal as far as pressurizing the space and injecting an aerosol sealant that then floats and seals the leaks to a larger area as far as sealing the building envelope, everything from micro hotels to 10,000 square foot commercial spaces.
Wow.
AeroBarrier was actually developed in UC Davis. That's where the technology kind of originated. We now have exclusive rights to that patent worldwide to commercialize it and bring it to the market.
And so how did this, because y'all use this aerosolizer, I guess. So for those that aren't familiar with that, think of aerosols like you would a spray can, hairspray or spray deodorant, and those are all aerosols. Aerosol is just super small particles suspended in air. Am I correct? Do you remember that right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about the particle size and allowing it to be dispersed in a certain way.
But did y'all invent the technology that creates that aerosol fog?
No, not necessarily. I mean, aerosol is an aerosol. We just use it to our advantage as far as our application. So we invented the application, the machinery, and the actual how it's applied. The whole system, right? Not just the aerosol, but the blower door and the computer and everything that's included is kind of what we invented.
Yeah, and that unique combination of machines and computers and the sealant really, that's really your secret sauce. And it delivers a punch.
The computer itself, once you're set up and ready to go, the computer controls everything. It can control the temperature in the house. It can control the humidity in the house. It controls the amount of sealant being injected at any given time. So as we're getting tighter, or as we're experiencing different things in the building or in the building that we're sealing, the computer reacts appropriately.
That's amazing. So you can actually dial in how tight you want the home or building to be.
Yep,
and
exactly.
the system monitors it as it's going, and it will shut off at that level. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, and that's what, like I mentioned earlier, because we can dial it in so precisely, there's no extra labor, there's no extra material, there's no extra wasted time because we know exactly where we are and what we need to get to, so there's no guessing. We hit it and we're done. So it's more cost-effective, time-effective, labor-effective than traditional sealing methods because we know exactly where we need to be and we turn it off when we hit it.
So I saw one of your case studies where the home, or I think it was a home actually, had already been manually sealed with caulk and foam, all these little, and I don't remember how many hours of labor were in it. I believe in the order of 20. I apologize for not remembering exactly. But then they brought in, and you'd gotten to a certain degree of tightness, but it wasn't as tight as they wanted. And then you brought an AeroBarrier on top of it, and literally in a matter of hours, were able to increase that significantly, if I remember, which was just really impressive that it could fill in the gaps even when things apparently had already been filled in.
Yeah, and the beauty of the technology is it doesn't discriminate on a leak. If you can see it, it's going to seal it, right? So those get you so far.
Non-discrimination leaks. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of it is where air flows, so does our sealant particles, and we're going to seal it. So whether you can see it or not, which, in a lot of cases, getting to a certain number as far as envelope tightness, a lot of leaks you can't see. You're just guessing or hoping you find the one that kind of gets you there. Well, our technology takes that guess out. It seals no matter whether you can see it or not.
So if a builder or homeowner or remodeler is considering this, and they're comparing to the way we have been doing it, material cost, I'm sure, is quite a bit different. And the traditional way, materials, a tube of caulk doesn't cost you a lot. But the labor to install that caulk can be significant. And more importantly, the results you're getting may be significantly different with manual versus automated.
Right. The biggest thing that we see is, we have a list of things that if a builder wanted to bring on AeroBarrier, of things that they can consider removing from their build process. Really, that boils down to the builder and how they build, and there's a bunch of different variables there, but we can help identify areas that could be removed from the build process.
Oh, wait. Let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly. So your process is revolutionary enough, and I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that you can help a builder evaluate and streamline their building process from using your technology.
Yes, if you think about it, to your point, when you're manual sealing things, the labor required and the time required to do that is variable. You have to do all this work. You aren't 100% sure if you got there. And there's really, the benefits far outweigh the risk, if you want to call it that, as far as bringing in AeroBarrier, because it typically takes about 2 hours for us to hit a number. When you get a consistent building envelope, you can start to right-size mechanicals. And another insurance policy that AeroBarrier brings to the table is there's no more missing a closing because you didn't hit a certain envelope tightness. With manual sealing, you're pretty much crossing your fingers at the end of the day that the building is going to pass code. With our system, there's no more guessing. It's a guarantee that that's going to happen. So there's no more callbacks. There's no more fees or fines because you didn't close on time. There's no more scheduled delays in your build process. Probably shorten your build process because within 2 hours, your envelope is completely sealed.
You're ready to go. The closing, so the reason that a close might be delayed, so in many communities across the United States, minimum codes now include an energy code. So they include a certain level of energy efficiency that building must achieve. And oftentimes it's proven through a blower door test and an energy rating that's calculated from that test. Am I good so far?
Yeah. The envelope leakage, or the amount of air leaking in and out of a house, is actually a big part of that measure.
So if a building doesn't meet that code, that energy code level, then it would not get an occupancy permit, and that would delay closing.
Yeah, they cannot sell the property or take occupancy of the space until they achieve those codes.
Building codes vary widely across the United States and even sometimes across the state. But we are seeing an increased number of states and communities going to higher energy efficiency codes over time.
Yep.
And even if your municipality or community is not in an area where advanced energy codes have been adopted, this is still great insurance to build a better house and do a better job and just do the right thing, in my estimation.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a more energy efficient solution, high quality solution, or just you want comfort in your house, right? And you want to control the allergens and the pollutants that may be entering your air. You want indoor air quality for your family. The way to do it is to build a tighter envelope and to build a better house. And this solution can provide that.
And that's huge because we tend to, in the industry, kind of get into all the energy and all the technology and all the backstory. And what it really means for the people that are living in those homes and buildings is a better place to live. And you guys are a key part of helping to be able to deliver that.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that really opened my eyes to why the building envelope matters is if you think about the building envelope, and let's say, code here in Ohio is 7 air changes per hour. And what that really means is less than every 10 minutes, all the volume of air in your house is through leaks and coming back in through leaks. So it's changing faster than every 10 minutes. So just think about the entire volume of air in your house and that leaving and being replaced with pollutants, allergens, other things like dust coming from the outside almost every 10 minutes.
So let's put that in perspective a second. So if you have 1,000 square foot home with 10-foot ceilings, that is 10,000 cubic feet of air changing in your home every, I think, 8 minutes, if I did my math right.
Yep.
So that means you're getting a lot of quote unquote fresh air that has been filtered through your walls, your insulation, your paint, your dirt, your cobwebs, your allergens coming in from outside, your pollen coming in from outside, and not to mention dirt, right?
Yes. So
you don't want that fresh air coming in that way. You want it coming in a controlled way, right?
Exactly right. That's why, so if we can tighten down the building envelope and bring in some type of fresh air ventilation strategy, we can still bring in the same volume of air, but it's going through some type of filter media. It's going through your mechanical system in a way that it's higher quality air. Your indoor air quality and comfort will increase significantly if we can control it a little bit better.
Yeah, I live in a very windy place in Oklahoma City, and oh my gosh, the dirt. And I can't imagine if I was in a lesser sealed house. This is at least a reasonably sealed house, but all those little bitty dust particles and dirt particles managed to find a way in.
Yep.
Ugh, that's crazy. Well, hey, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
You can try and learn about voiceover all by yourself, or you can get you and your voice to school. Check out Voice Farmers Voiceover Academy today and learn how you can make money with your voice. It's all available over at voicefarmers.com. That's voicefarmers.com.
Don't miss the next episode of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't just a television show now on ABC. It's a great new podcast available at agentsofshield.tv, only on the Two Guys Talking Podcast Network.
I'm Chief Chris DiGiuseppe from WhatCopsWatch.com, and you're listening to the Green Gab Podcast with Marla, Esser, Cloos.
Hey, we're back on the Green Gab, Gavin with Paul Springer of AeroBarrier, and really getting the lowdown on the science and the technology and the ingenuity behind this solution for air sealing homes and buildings. And I know, folks, that sounds like so much fun. We got to air seal. But it's kind of one of those basic things. And you start with a good foundation, you can build a great home or building on top of it. And air sealing that envelope is key. It's critical. Read anything on energy efficiency or green or sustainable homes, and it is there, right? But, Paul, the cool thing is not only do you guys help their homes and buildings to be more energy efficient, you guys do it in a super responsible way. You guys carry some certifications on the product as well, don't you?
We do. The Green Guard Gold is a certificate that we carry on our product. And really what that means is it's good for indoor air quality. It's a low VOC or no off-gassing material. So it's not going to add to any chemicals or any unhealthy things to the living space.
And that's something when we're doing green home certifications that we really look for, is to make sure the products being used in the home or the building are contributing to the health and wellness of the people living there, not detracting from it. And VOCs is a huge part of that, as we all know. So that those volatile organic compounds, those little nasties that you smell. I know we've had to kind of retrain ourselves because that freshly painted scent that we're all so used to smelling isn't or that our smell. And you just never know when they're going to come into your home. Sometimes it's fragrances or candles. Anyway, I've become really sensitive to them, so I can smell them easily. But I'm thrilled that you guys really looked at both sides, that you're not just contributing on the energy efficiency side, but also on the green and sustainability side. And yeah, energy efficiency is such a huge part of green and sustainability. I don't know that we all connect the dots on that as well, but if your home is using less energy or your building, then not only do you get a better deal as people living there, but you are helping the world and your community by contributing less of the nasty stuff. So
yes,
it's really a win-win situation. How many wins can I get in that? Hey, you can go for a lot of wins, right?
Yes, as many as you can.
So I know you guys have been super busy out sharing this with the world. How are you positioned with all this, and what are you looking to help the world do?
Our biggest goal with AeroBarrier and our belief is that we can now bring higher efficiency, more energy efficient, higher quality buildings to the masses. Right? This building envelope has been this weird unknown for a really long time, and getting it sealed properly and doing all the things to get a high quality envelope were at sometimes challenging and very time consuming. So we believe the technology is not only going to improve the quality of the home being built, but we believe every house in the future can be a passive house, or every house in the future can be a net zero house that's producing enough electricity for itself and not having to take power off the grid. The building envelope is the foundation for being able to do that. And because we have a solution that now guarantees it and is so easy to use, our goal and our belief is that we can make every home more energy efficient. And if it's not net zero energy or zero energy ready or passive house, then it's at least a much more efficient home.
Okay, so you just said a whole bunch of things that just got me super excited. And I also want to make sure our audience gets. So a passive house certification is a pretty high energy efficiency rating.
It's pretty much the highest you can get, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty stringent. I have a friend that brags that the homes he works on that are passive house, you could heat with a hairdryer. So they're super tight and super well insulated and have super high efficiency things in them. So that's awesome. And then you also mentioned net zero energy ready. So describe that one too.
Net zero energy ready is a home that may not necessarily include any type of renewables like solar. Mm-hmm. It's ready for it. So to add renewables or a solar array onto the roof of the house, that house would then produce more or at least enough energies to completely sustain itself and not need external power.
When you guys hear net zero or zero energy homes, that is a good zero, not a bad zero.
Yeah, typically means your utility. Typically means your utility bill is zero. You don't pay for electricity or anything like that because your home is producing enough that you don't have to pay for it.
So if you want, for instance, to be independent and live on your own, you'd start with a really fabulous, well-sealed, well-insulated structure that didn't need a lot of external help from our systems like heating and cooling. And that way your load is light enough that you can manage it with solar energy and not even need as much of that. So anytime you make these efforts up front, they pay you off over time because it doesn't cost as much to operate your home or your building. And that enables you to maybe do a little bit more up front.
Yeah.
We had that situation when we bought our house, and just
maybe a situation where you pay a little bit more up front. That little bit up front pales in comparison to the savings over the lifetime of the house.
Yeah.
So it's well worth the investment up front to move in that direction. And then over time, the zero energy bills or whatever benefits you're getting from your home will then pay for itself well more than 10 times.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we get so short-sighted we forget to look out and you think, oh, wait, this is going to cost us how much to operate and how much to maintain and how much to insure, and because there's a lot of costs that go into a home or building that are not just the upfront costs.
Yep.
I think we're getting better. I still see a lot of room for growth. Yeah, actually, there's a gentleman I interviewed on the podcast that has a project TCO or total cost of ownership. And he has this tool, this software tool that he's built to go through and calculate how all the different improvements you can make to a home contribute to the financial picture of the home. And it's pretty fascinating. So I'll try to link that one as well for anybody that wants to go back and listen to that, because there's a lot of payoff in doing a few things a little bit smarter up front. So
yes,
AeroBarrier is definitely a part of that. The other thing you said that really struck me was bringing better homes to the masses.
Yep.
And that's a big, hairy, audacious goal. And I love it. I love big, hairy, audacious goals. So how do you go about that? How do you make that happen?
The one problem that I see today is building codes are typically done at a state level. So the state is regulating how tight buildings need to be or how well they need to be constructed. And all these different things are done at a state level. And a lot of the problem with states moving forward with a higher energy code or moving forward with changing the code is how hard is it for a builder to really achieve what they're asking them to achieve. And we now have a solution that one of the hardest things for builders to do is seal a building envelope. They don't know how to do it. They've never been required to do it before. Well, now we have a solution that does it automatically. There's no more concern for if they can get there because we know they can get there. We just believe that this is the foundation. The building envelope is the foundation for states and people to start requesting more from their building and start expecting more from their buildings, because before it was kind of, we think we can get there. We'll hand seal and we'll caulk all this stuff and hope it works out. Well, now that's not a problem anymore. We're going to guarantee it. We're going to do it with one simple, easy to apply solution. And there's no reason every builder can't institute this into their build process and get to where they want to go or where their customers want them to be.
That makes sense. So it's just a matter of getting it out to enough folks, huh?
Yep.
And that takes a little time.
We're working on it.
A lot of great exposure will help. And
yes.
We have lots of folks listening to the podcast will ask their builder and their remodeler about using the solution. We hope lots of builders and remodelers hopefully will tune in and listen and get an opportunity to ask about it. You guys have a ton of great information on the website. Share with us some of that stuff that may be helpful to our listeners.
There's a bunch of videos and case studies and just general information about the technology itself. If you go to www.aerobarrier.net, that's AeroBarrier.net, and you can fill out a form and get in contact with us for more information, or if you have specific projects that you'd like to talk about, or you just want to learn more about the technology, the information is all available.
You said you guys were going out to projects, actually showing people how this works.
Yeah, we spent all last week on the East Coast. We spent the week before that on the West Coast in Washington State. We believe that the building industry hasn't changed a whole lot over the last 50 years, and this is a disruptive technology in terms of what they've experienced to date. So there's a little bit of skepticism about what we can do and that it truly is what we say it is. So we've taken it on the road and put our money where our mouth is, and we're actually going and showing people that it works and that it's as good as we say it is and that it's as easy to implement into their build process as we say it is.
And do you find that it's one of those things that seeing is believing?
Yeah, everybody, they call it magic pixie dust. How it's working or why it's working the way it is, but it's working and they see the results. And when they go to close on the house, it is what we say it is. And they're just amazed at how easy it is to do.
Yeah, I know. I was rather fascinated with the process because it seems like it would be a lot bigger deal, but nature do a lot of the work. Just the natural forces of physics do a lot of the work for you. So
Yeah, we just put everything in place, let the computer take control of the rest.
Very, very impressive. Well, what advice would you give to someone that wants to get involved in the energy efficient, green, sustainability world? Where would they maybe get started and how can they contribute?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is obviously there's a ton of resources out there, whether you're looking at U.S. Green Builders Council or Zero Energy Ready Home program. Go do some research, but then start talking. Ask your builders, ask your remodelers, ask your state representatives what they're doing about it, why they should care, and educate yourself so you can educate other people. As we move forward, states are going to start to adopt different codes and different requirements for builders and the homes and spaces that we live in. So why not speed that up a little bit and make better homes for everybody? But to do that, you got to educate yourself to educate others. But just start asking the question. A lot of builders may not know or be as versed in air changes or what a blower door does or why they should care. But it's a great conversation to have and to educate other people. The more people know, the better the houses we're going to build and the better lives everybody's going to live because of it.
I love a better world. I'm all in favor of that. Well, Paul, I thank you for your time today and sharing AeroBarrier with us. I'm super excited to be knowing you guys and working with you and really having the opportunity to share this very ingenious and innovative solution with people out in our podcast world and in our people that are following us. So we really appreciate that opportunity to help get the word out.
Yeah, not a problem. Please keep your fingers crossed for us. April 13th, we will find out what Edison Award we won.
Oh my gosh, that's right. You said you were a finalist for the Edison Award.
Yeah, so just this week, we found out we're an Edison Award winner. Just for anybody that doesn't know, it's non-industry specific, but it's an award that recognizes innovation and innovators. And we are one of 3 finalists that we've won the award. So now we determine if we won gold, silver, or bronze.
Okay.
April 11th, keep your fingers crossed for us.
April 11th, okay.
We're going to bring home the gold.
An update.
Yeah.
Well, here's going for the gold, right? That's
yes,
in keeping with the Olympics, the Super Bowl, we'll go for the gold.
Perfect timing, yes.
Well, Paul, thank you again. And thank you to all of our listeners for hearing AeroBarrier's story. And any questions, you know where to look for the resources and the links on the podcast notes. You can find all of our episodes on greengabpodcast.com, on iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please remember to leave us a review on iTunes. It really helps for us to get the word out better when you leave a review. And we'll look forward to you hearing us on the next podcast of The Green Gab. Thanks and have an awesome day.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Green Gab Podcast and for joining us on our own personal Green Odyssey as we change the world one Green Gab podcast at a time. What did you learn about during this episode? Tell us now by visiting our website at greengabpodcast.com. And remember to connect with us via iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter. Links to do all of this are at our website, greengabpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, but more importantly, thanks for rocking it in green.